Hello, everyone. I'm so excited. We have such an amazing person to chat with today. So, this is Maria. She is such an amazing writer. She has written for so many incredible wellness brands and has really built her career from scratch. I think it's so inspiring. And so, I'm excited to just chat with her
Okay.
more about her journey and all that she's done. And she also took the copywriting course, so she has experience there, and she's just always continuing her education. So she's always learning new marketing, new writing, but just wanted her to be able to share her experience and what's made the biggest difference for her, because I know a lot of you are thinking about making a change from another industry or another job into writing, into marketing. And it can be so intimidating to even like know where to begin or what you should learn, what matters. So just wanted to invite you to share and kind of give any good nuggets to anyone who's thinking about doing the same. So welcome.
Thank you. Thanks so much. I'm so happy to be here, be able to have a little chat with you and share my experience and whatever can help your audience.
Awesome. Okay, so maybe do you want to just start and share anything that stands out to you, like about the course, like anything that you learned that was helpful, or the things that made the biggest difference, like in content or whatever you learned kind of going through it.
Yeah, for sure. So, I mean, before the course, I had already, like started writing. I had experience in writing. Um, So it wasn't like the first time that I would write some long form content or things like that, but it helped me like to make sure that I was following an efficient like process to create my content. I think that that was like one of the things that it helped me the most, just to kind of like structureize how I do things, and like you gave us like amazing tips on outlining and how to always make sure that you have like your sources so you don't waste time like going back to searching any source you are referring to, um, and also I think that the prospecting activities just made you like, as you said, it's always intimidating, it's hard to get out there. So I love those because they were great opportunities, and you just made everything so easy for us like students to get out there and just like start doing things, because sometimes I don't know, you work and create and write and everything, but if you don't get yourself out there, then you're never going to continue or like gaining, you're not gonna gain clients and things like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, 100%.
So
And
like it pushes you in a good way to get yourself out there.
yeah, it's kind of like a little momentum boost or accountability or something where like if
Yeah.
you have a trainer, you like know that every single week there's something else that you get to either like learn or grow in or like have questions about, but it kind of keeps you in the game, your head in the game almost.
Yeah, yeah. And
Yeah.
sometimes you don't know like how to get yourself out there. So you just, I mean, like you gave us great ways, tips, like templates for messages, tools. So yeah, that was really, really helpful.
Oh, good. And I think one of the things that I love about your journey is that you're very clear on the niche that you want to write for. Like you have a background in nutrition and wellness, and you really came in saying, like, this is my passion. Like, this is really what I want to write for. And yes, there may be other opportunities, but you've always kind of guided your career to writing and being intentional about finding those right companies. So maybe even like I would just be curious to hear if you can even speak to that in the sense of, how did you know that would be your right industry, or how have you found it kind of pivoting from doing more of the coaching and client work even beyond coaching, more like clinical work, to writing about that industry?
Yeah. So, I mean, as you mentioned, nutrition is kind of like my passion. I wanted, to emphasize in that area. But I think that, as you mentioned in the course, it's also important to get the experience. So sometimes you're not going to be able to have the type of clients you want. But at least for me, it helped like saying yes to clients that maybe were not in the industry or the niche that I wanted to, but gave me, like the credibility and the opportunity to do content. And I think that it's easier to start doing the thing and then moving towards like the industry or the niche you want, instead of like spending a lot of time trying to find that without actually
Yeah.
doing like the work. So I've done a lot for like marketing, text message marketing, content, which is not like my niche nor my experience. But like all your investigation, like research tips have helped a lot, and it becomes
Mm.
easier as you like create more content for that client.
Mm.
And so, I mean, I studied my bachelor in nutrition. I've always loved, nutrition. And I decided to move from a more clinical aspect towards a more content side, because I felt that creating trustworthy, science backed, like nutrition wellness content could make me have a bigger like impact in more people's lives, instead
Mm.
of just like a one-on-one nutritional consultation. And yeah, I mean, that's kind of like the reason why I moved towards content.
Mhm.
And also because I think that, social, like there's a lot of information out there, and sometimes it can be like misleading to users or consumers. And especially like within the nutrition and wellness space, I think that it's important to, actually tell like the truth and like
Yeah.
science backed,
Yes.
trustworthy things.
Yeah.
Hope
Yeah,
that
it's
answers
so
your question.
important. It does. Yeah. No, you kind of had a few interesting points, which is like, one, that writing, I always just think it's so interesting that like you can have an industry you're passionate about, and there's lots of ways you can pursue it. You can do consultations or coaching. And that was even my original, passion with nutrition and wellness too. But then I liked the content because it felt like you got to teach. And to your point, you
Yeah.
could reach so many more people reading an article. And then
Yeah.
two, I love what you said about how you can have kind of this guiding star of a industry or client that you want to work with, but it does help in some ways to still build your brand or your business, your freelance like body of work, by taking on these other opportunities. And even just practicing, like that's
Yeah.
almost where you stretch the most in terms of your research skills, and like how to write efficiently and how to source things and where to look for information. Because you've written about all kinds of things, like from even COVID stuff that had to be very well researched and linked to
Yeah.
everything, all the way to, like you said, more marketing, where you come in maybe not even knowing about a certain like client or industry, but in a matter of time, like you can quickly get up to speed and just feel like now you probably feel like you know everything about that industry, even if you didn't even know that you would,
Yeah. Yeah,
hmm
totally. Yeah. And as you said, I think that it's important, like whoever wants to pursue, like a freelance copywriting uh business. Um yeah, I would recommend, like, if you do have the opportunity, although it's not the industry, the space, the client that you want, doing the work helps, like gain the skills, and then eventually, you'll um keep pursuing like those clients, the
yeah.
ones that you really want to work with.
For sure. And you even have an interesting background as well, where you have even navigated having English as like a second language. So do you want
Yeah.
to speak to what's helped there, for anyone else who maybe is encountering that as well, but like has dreams of doing writing or freelance writing, and
Yeah,
you've shown
for
it's
sure.
possible.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, so I grew up in Mexico. English is my second language, and I mean, everything has been possible thanks to you, Jessica, my mentor. You've opened, like the doors for me, helped me, like gain skills, practice, kind of interact like with different clients, different industries. And I mean, it's challenging, but having, I would say, like someone who can lead the way, someone who can teach you, who would, like share and spend their time trying to get the best out of you, which I did find in you. Thank you.
Thank you.
I think that that makes everything possible. Of course, it's challenging and it's intimidating. I remember one of the meetings, the first meetings that we had, where I met one of the editors,
Hmm.
that I asked her, like, not a native English native speaker, but I would love to be an editor one time. Do you think that that's
Hmm.
possible? And she actually mentioned that she, like, her first language was also Spanish.
Yeah.
And like, fast forward 2 years after, I'm doing editing in set in my second language. So yeah, I mean, her experience and her, like, cheering me and telling me that it was possible, like, made me believe in myself and know that I could become an editor and a copywriter in a second language.
Yes. And you're both so amazing. And, you're diligent and you're learning. And I think one of the things that stands out to me too is like, you're, you always want to know like why, like you love to know why a change is made. And I think that's even one of the best ways to learn, because you can get a page full of edits, or you can see the finished product looks a little different than how you submitted it once an editor goes through it. But as like a way to learn, you always had the, just you always ask the question of like, okay, well, what was this change for? And so then you like own that. From then on, you always know why that change
Yeah,
was made, and why certain clients want things one way and another client wants it the opposite way.
yeah, for
But I feel
sure.
like you always really did that. And I think that's probably like, you just grew so quickly because you started to gain this like body of knowledge and understanding for yourself too. And that's probably what I would share even with other writers, is just like have that kind of curiosity around why edits
Yeah,
are made, or have someone who can give the feedback as to like exactly why they would suggest something different, because that's the only way that you'll ever really know like as well.
yeah, for sure. And like implementing, that feedback or that like reason they gave you. And that's the way also, like, I've been able to make my writing and my editing better,
Hmm.
because like that's the I think that that's the more efficient way to learn.
Yeah.
um so, like, questioning, and as you mentioned, clients, like, each client is different, so also like understanding how they like things, and being able to shift, like, from maybe one voice to another one, or one style to another one.
Hmm. Yes. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. What would you say, like, for advice to new writers, or maybe even anyone who is in a position like you were, where you're in another industry and maybe you like it, but you're looking to maybe shift to freelance writing, or to be your own boss, or to create a little more of that flexibility in your schedule? Any advice to anyone starting out and wondering how they even get started?
Yeah. So, first tip, you need to to take Jessica's course.
Oh.
I mean, I think that it's just so complete. It really makes it's so digestible. It makes everything like so easy. It gives you a lot of tools. And also, at least for me, like the mentoring side has helped me a lot, because if it's something completely new, like you need someone to coach you, to lead you, to like kind of lead the way, instead of just like trying to figure out things. It's okay to have someone help you. uh so yeah, I think that that's what I would like to share.
Yeah, that's thank you. That's so nice.
Of
And
course.
you've like really done such a great job of always investing in training and in finding the education piece, right? Instead of using as much of the trial and error or like piecing it together online. I think that's probably one of the reasons that you've built such an amazing career, even in a short period of time, is just like always investing in like what is like the research saying, what are the experts saying, what is the industry saying, how do I do the content, how do I do the marketing. So to your credit, you've always invested in that part and sought that out too.
Yeah, totally. And I do feel that like continue education is very important, especially because, things in the digital area move too fast.
Yeah.
And it's a great way to keep up and, yeah,
Yes, I
learn
agree.
more skills.
I agree. Yes.